Awesome. So no fun intro video this time. So you guys, last session for today. First and foremost, thank you for staying. Round of applause for everybody that's staying in the room. Please give yourself a big round of applause all the way through. I understand I'm the last speaker. It's been a long couple days. You've already heard me yap, but I'm going to do my best to keep energy going and offer value for the last session. Is that okay for everybody? Okay, then I'm done. See you guys later. Can we do that, yes or no? Okay, true story. So I was coming home from a Prove It event, walked up to my doorstep. This is actually my doorstep, right? I love my wife, Karis. We've been together 25 years, high school sweethearts. But I walked in, I'm like, honey, we have a serious Amazon problem. How many of you guys also have a problem where the smiley face boxes come way too often to your doorstep? Okay, I have no idea how to solve this. It still happens, but I do know how to solve with confidence Amazon as a challenge, as a direct selling company. I think this is a super important conversation. So stay engaged and present even though we are the last session, okay? Quick backstory. So it was 2 years ago at the DSU event. I know that event's coming up here in April. I was sitting in a CEO forum. Stuart does a great job bringing a lot of the CEOs together. Amazon came up as a topic, and I was blown away. They said, well, who's selling on Amazon? This is 2 years ago. And there were two of us that raised our hands, me and Danny Lee from 4Life. Right? A year and a half ago, I took the stage at a DSU event, and I just said, here's what I'm doing, right? As a client, right? As an operator, transparently. Fast forward, it's crazy to see the shift. I think most brands are now on Amazon or making, right, that shift in the industry, which is pretty nuts. How many of you guys, as a company, your products currently today are being sold on Amazon? Right? For the rest of you not raising your hands, how many of you are product-based companies? Okay? I guarantee you if you're a product-based company, your products are on Amazon. Matter of fact, I went and searched your brands, and your products are on Amazon. The question is just how are they getting there and what control do you have over it? I'm in a room of compliance. You guys know this stuff, right? It can be a big problem. I love Amazon as a consumer. You guys love your Prime memberships? Right? But as a company, it can be a huge challenge. I'm speaking to the choir. You guys have to deal with it, right? Brands exist, and all of a sudden, boom, your products start popping up on Amazon, right? First, it's that seller, then it's that seller. You can't figure out who the heck these people are. They're hiding behind seller names. Amazon does a great job protecting their sellers. Oh, and by the way, they're very crafty in our field. They figure out how to maximize your promos, maximize your rewards plan, get the product for cheaper. And if they put it on Amazon for $1 less than you're selling on your website, man, they can grab a lot of traffic. And then it becomes a race to who can be the cheapest price on Amazon. So now all of a sudden you got your products on Amazon that are cheaper than what you can buy on your website or your distributors can actually sell for. So who do they complain? To everybody, the uplines, right? To you. It just becomes a giant complaining match. What do we do about all of this? Which causes a bunch of support issues that we all have to deal with. I know you guys, am I making you feel pain right now? Right, that we have to deal with. Oh, and quality issues. It's popping up on Amazon. You don't know who's selling that. You don't know where the products are coming from. Is that your current product? Is it the right package? Is it sitting in someone's garage and super hot? Is the stuff almost close to expired? Most consumers don't even realize that it's not you as a company on Amazon. So now they're calling you and your support trying to fix the problem, but you can't find them in your database because they didn't buy from the company. They bought off what? Amazon, right? These are issues that we face. There's nothing worse than that brand new distributor. Just got started yesterday in your company. Excited. Talks to their first prospect. Where do we all go first to search for anything, right? About anything. We go to what? Google. And what is the first thing we see at the top of Google for every search? Anybody? Amazon. So now the prospect, right, goes to Google, finds their way on Amazon, and then hits the brand new distributor and says, how come I can buy this product for cheaper than what you're offering to me? Boom. Not a customer. That person's demoralized, and you just lost serious trust and integrity with your entire field. Does this sound familiar to anybody in the room, honestly, by a show of hands? You guys, we deal with this. If you're a product company, you deal with this. If you're not dealing with this, you will deal with this, right? So we know the pain. What do we do about it? Okay? A couple options. You can totally ignore it. Not a great strategy, considering Amazon is the third largest search engine in the world behind Google and YouTube. 63% of people start their search on Amazon products, right? So they're going there before they're even going to Google. Amazon has 50% of the e-commerce market share. To ignore this would not be a winning strategy. You can complain about it. I sent a bunch of DMs to Jeff Bezos. He never replied, right? Didn't care. We can compete with it. I've watched brands try to do this. Oh, Blake, oh yeah, we're just running our own offers. Now we're cheaper than Amazon. Guys, product comes from you first. Our BOGOs are amazing. You know who the number one buyer of your BOGOs are? The distributors, stopping up on products so they can sell it on what? Amazon. You're literally racing to the bottom of your own brand, okay? Which ultimately means the only thing we really can do is to control it, okay? In this conversation, finally, right, we can, as companies, fully control this problem. Couldn't have said that a few years ago, okay? So how do we do this? Here's a couple quick case studies. Here's us, just transparently as prove it. I've done this twice now. I did it with my company, Vi, 7 years ago, super effectively. I've been in this challenge for 10 years. One of the first things I did when I came aboard Prove It 4 years ago was solve this issue, right? We had a giant issue. We had 78 unique sellers. We didn't know who they were. The average price of our product was $97. The packaging was horrible, right? We implemented a solution. You guys can go search our brand on Amazon today. We are the single only seller. We've raised the price of our product from $97 to $154. Okay, all of the brand matches our brand. We're doing some advertising. We're averaging right now over 12 ROAS, return on advertising spend, on Amazon. We've done over $40 million in Amazon channel revenue as a brand. Okay, so it does work. I'm going to bring up a panel here in a few minutes for them to share their story. But like, here's USANA, obviously a hugely respected company in the industry, had a similar problem, bunch of unauthorized sellers. Their price was below what they needed. Had some issues with trademarks. Now they're their only seller. They've raised their price up to $71. It matches brand. They've started advertising. Now they're expanding globally. You're going to get a chance to hear from an individual helping lead that. I'm also going to bring up someone from 4Life here in a minute. Here's just their facts. Okay, they had previously, like I told you, Danny was one of the early adopters, chose to partner with a big box agency, so they had made some progress, but they were kind of happy or unhappy with the service that they were getting, and they weren't getting 100% of the buy box, 100% compliance. They made a recent shift they'll talk about, okay, to a partnership agency. They've improved their profit margin. They control all of their inventory, improve their service. My point in these case studies is it's possible. It's what? Come on, guys. It's what? Possible, right? It's possible. Short answer, you have to set up your Amazon store as the brand. And you got to go through Amazon's brand registry. That's the bottom line punchline of where this begins. Okay, why do we do this? The number one reason why we do this, in my opinion, is to protect the community. It's to protect, not to compete with our distributor community, right? If you do this right, you can remove 100% of the unauthorized sellers. That has to be done 100% in order for this to work fully, okay? Because if one person pops up for $1 cheaper, people gravitate to the cheapest price. So this starts with owning the entire buy box. The only way you can do that within total control is to be the brand, okay, and have a presence on there. Once you do that, you can control the pricing. So now you can set the price in a way that doesn't compete, right, with your field. You can decide what products are and are not on Amazon, right? So now you have total control. You can make sure they're the right products, right? Quality control, get rid of some of those support issues, which means you maintain your brand image, and ultimately you protect, you what? Your community. That's what moved me into the space. It wasn't about new revenue. It wasn't about, added exposure. Me, it was just like, I got a problem. My promoters are yelling at me, right? How do we solve this? Protection is the first step. What you'll find after you do that is there is another side, right? Where you actually can start to use it as a tool to expand your brand and expand your sales. So elevate brand credibility. Amazon is, fact, the most trusted third-party website on the entire internet. By the way, what do people trust? What do you as a consumer trust? When you go buy something on Amazon, what do you read first? Oh, it's not the entire product description. You're not reading all the details. Well, you're scrolling down to the bottom to read the what? Reviews. The ratings and the reviews are what people trust, right? So if you can control that experience, hear me, you turn Amazon into a brand tool that actually lifts the conversation. Does this make sense to all of you guys? Oh, and by the way, if you're not on Amazon, side note, people think you're weird. Why aren't you on Amazon? What's wrong with your company? Are you in one of those things? This is the consumer mind today, right? Because this is where the consumer is. You can also generate incremental sales, okay? So Amazon has 200 million, right, Prime members spending on average $1,400 a year. It's a new market to generate revenue. Some people only buy things on Amazon. So getting there has the ability to actually generate incremental sales. Side note, there are people right now, do I have your attention, yes or no? Yes or no? Right now, in this moment, while you guys are thinking about your flights and packing and checking out of your hotel room, there are people searching for your product category. No. There are not even people searching for your brand. Right now. And if you're not there, they're buying your competitor who is there on your keywords on Amazon. You guys tracking with me? Right? So you have to be there to expand. Advertising gets you into a whole new side. Amazon has its own advertising platform. So you can actually advertise to get outside the conversation of just your distributors. Quick history lesson on direct selling. We do a great job bringing new technology to the world, creating a conversation, and then D2C brands go create products similar to ours for lower price and hijack our conversation on D2C channels. If you've been around long enough, this has been truth. We do the heavy lift, D2C then milks off our work. Now, for the first time as brands, we get to capture both sides of the conversation. By the way, if you do it correctly, it's the highest margin revenue you will have. Your CFO will love that. And public companies or future public companies, the market gives D2C revenue higher value. They give it higher multiples, higher value as D2C revenue. They just do, okay? So that's why we do this, right? But Blake, we're a direct selling company. We're empowering entrepreneurs. Right? That is exactly why you make this step. It's not to compete, it's to protect. Here's a quick history lesson on the evolution of the solution. This is not a new problem. I've been dealing with this problem literally for 10 years. 10 years ago, I was in a disaster, right? My company brand had gone through huge reverse momentum. We had inventory issues. I mean, we had a product being sold for it was a mess, right? So there's been a evolution of solution, right? The first solution that existed 10 years ago, I call it the compliance legal track, okay? And there's two ways to do it. You do it yourself or you hire an agency to do it. This is where you hire a team effectively to yell at people, okay? So they yell, right, at the people selling, but you can't really find them because they're hiding behind seller names and Amazon protects them. Side note, Amazon doesn't care. They just want the sales. They don't care who's selling it. Right? So they're not going to make it easy. You guys live this stuff, right? So for me, although for a long time this was the only solution, it is basically the equivalent of a yelling match, okay? The distributor community yells at me. I'm sitting here yelling at my compliance. My compliance is trying to yell at distributors and yelling at Amazon. It's a bunch of yelling that doesn't really do much, my opinion, okay? But it was the only thing we could do for a long period of time. Then we went into this new phase. There was a version 2 of solution. Call it the buy, sell. This is where you find somebody who understands Amazon, they buy product from you, essentially like a wholesale deal, and then they sell it on Amazon, right? It's called the buy, sell. There's kind of two ways I've seen this work. Most fall under the I know a guy. It's always the I know a guy. Like, it's always someone knows a guy that knows how to make this work on Amazon. That's the majority of this. There is one big box agency that I'm familiar with that's attempting to do this in the direct selling channel. Good news is it does work. It's an effective step. It's a step in the right direction, but it does not get 100% compliance in my experience. And there is risk, okay? Especially on the I know a guy, right? So the I know do you guys know what I mean by the I know a guy? It's like, what's your website? They don't have one. You go to their website, like the team is everybody with the same last name. You guys understand? Like, they're not companies. They're people that are sellers. Oh, by the way, they're usually the people that are buying your product through the comp plan and selling under hidden names that now they're showing up trying to be the solution where they're actually the problem. This is truth, okay? Because I know the people that are doing this. It's crazy. So we're trying to find like the people who are the problem child to actually solve our problem. Oh, and they then charge ridiculous amounts, usually 40 to 50% commission. You're going to pay these people basically to take advantage of the traffic your distributor community is generating. Okay? I can see the pain on some of your guys' faces right now, right? You know, but it's the truth. You don't own your storefront. They own their store. So now your product is on some random Amazon store with some random name. So now your distributors are going to a store that isn't your brand, that if they go to the full store, you see they're selling all the other companies' brands on the exact same store. Super confusing, right? And now you as a company don't have the influence with Amazon. Is Amazon's store an asset? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. It's a huge asset. Don't give that power to a guy who knows a guy. You as a brand should have that asset, okay? I mean, it's where 50% of e-commerce is happening. Own the asset, right, as the brand. They don't usually do more, right, than just the bare minimum because they don't have a team or staff to do it. They're definitely not going to help you with advertising. You get into inventory issues. Oh, by the way, they cut corners on how they do this because they don't have a team. If you ever find somebody that's using the transparency program, guys, you're a room of lawyers and compliance people. Go read Amazon's laws. It's a program designed to prevent counterfeit products, not to brand gate on Amazon. It's a program that in its stipulation, if you read it, says, okay, this is to be done on all of your SKUs. But what's happening is people have used it and manipulated it as a way to try to brand gate. But if you read the actual agreement, it literally says, go find this on Amazon's website, if you do this, you're at risk of losing your Amazon store permanently. Oh, and the executive that signed it is liable. You guys have getting in conversations with executives and they don't have no idea. I'm like, you're trusting the guy who knows a guy who gets paid 50% to sell product based on the conversations your community's doing, and you're not reading the actual laws of how Amazon works? Protect your execs, right? Please, on all of this stuff. Last one, and this one I get passionate about because it's burned me. It's huge risk because in the buy-sell, you don't control your inventory. It's gone. Once it leaves your warehouse, you have no idea where it goes. Guy that knows a guy that's sitting on inventory that isn't going to move on Amazon, where do you think that ends up? Guys, you know this, right? It ends up all over eBay, Walmart, every auction site. You can't figure out who they are because they all protect who they are. They tell you it's not them. This is the game that these people play. I know because I've been burned by it. I had an exclusive deal with the guy, right, that did this for a long time, and it worked. Like don't feel bad if you're in these situations right now. Dude, I did it for years because it was the only solution for a long time, right? But then I found out, I'm like, why can't we not own the buy box? Oh, these stores keep popping up. Long story short, I found out that he, even though he had an exclusive deal with our brand selling all of this, had set up shell stores, right, to offload inventory at cheaper so he could move more inventory. Like, we caught him in all of this. No reason. So my point, this is just personal experience living through it, right? There's different ways to do it. There's one big box agency that tries to do it, but our industry's hard. It's like a daily whack-a-mole. It takes daily effort, and they don't put forth the effort, in my experience, to actually own the buy box. Version 3. So here's the new model for the last couple years. Own your store. As a brand, own the store. You can do it yourself or you can do a partnership agency. Do it yourself. You got in-house resources. That's great. Right? The cons are you got to know Amazon. You got to have an Amazon ninja. Right? Generally, the good ones are running agencies. It's hard to get them internally. It's not just a one-person job. You got to have the compliance. You got to know Amazon. You got to have contacts in Amazon. It's a daily whack-a-mole. Okay? $200,000, $300,000 a year, maybe in salaries at least, to do it effectively, and you got to have the bandwidth to do it. New model partnership agency, same upside, you just have an outside agency step in and act as your in-house team. Same thing, they're just gonna do it for you. You as a brand own the store. A lot cheaper, right, than the buy-sell, and actually cheaper because it's shared resources than what you're gonna find, right, trying to staff it yourself. But you own the asset, you have all the control, they just run the ball for you. It actually saves you time. I'm talking on behalf of the company and the brand. Full transparency, I'm going to bring Josh up here in a minute from Core Commerce. I know they've been around. They're the only ones I know running this model. I've been a client of them for 7 years, first with Vi, then with Prove It. Trust them implicitly. They're the best I've found at doing this, a lot cheaper, 100% of the buy box in my experience. Okay, so that's kind of like the options. That's one side of it. Once you find the right partner, there's another side of the equation. You got to give this to your sales team, right, to the business team, because you got to have both sides. So once you have the solution, then you got to implement a strategy. Once you own the buy box, now you can set the price higher than what you're selling it for. Our process, personally, we do it 10% higher in shipping inclusive. You can limit the products, core SKU, right? Limit the products, not promotional, not new product drops. Leave those for your community. By the way, if you have inventory risk, oh no, expiration date's coming up in 6 months, we're not going to move it on our current trend. We use Amazon as a channel all the time, right, in order to mitigate write-off or scrap costs, right? So, I mean, there's huge value to all of this. You can limit promotions and special offers to your community, right, to your distributors. This is a big one. Removes every concern from a field perspective. I call it a sponsorship guarantee. We tell our community, if you ever think you lost a customer to Amazon, just tell us. If you're working with the right team, they can verify address. And if your promoter can verify the address, just give them the credit. Right? Give them the credit. That one thing removes any concern of channel conflict. I'll give you guys the future. You'll never need to use it. You'll never need to use it. Why would someone go to Amazon, pay a higher price on less inventory with no promotions or benefits or upside versus going to someone they actually know, like, and trust and getting a better deal? They don't, right? But implementing that alleviates concern. Are you guys tracking with me? Yes or no? Right? Is this helpful? Yes or no? Share in the upside. So if it generates revenue, which it will, I recommend sharing in the upside in your community. Create a pool, create incentives, right? So now you got alignment. This is important. Alignment with your distributor community. It's actually to their entire benefit and zero risk to make the move, okay? Then it all comes down to communication. So once you have the right solution, it just comes down to how you communicate. I'm a big believer, intention matters. Intention matters. So, like, I've never had an issue communicating this with our community because my intention has always been to protect the opportunity first and foremost. It was never add another revenue stream to the company. It's done that, but it was always been, let's protect the opportunity that we're doing. Your intention has to be in the right place. Be super transparent. There's no need to hide. There's no need to, like, pretend you're not. Just be upfront and educate them on how this works. What's in it for me, right, as the promoter? Hey, we're going to get rid of all these unauthorized sellers stealing your customers. We're going to raise the price so you have the ultimate best price products and benefit. If you ever have an issue, let us know. We'll assign the customer directly to you. And by the way, if this generates revenue, we're all going to win. We're going to Tahiti next week, next year. Like, share in, right, the upside and communicate top down. Warning. As soon as you do this, you will immediately find out where all the Amazon sales are coming from. The most vocal leaders will be the only ones that oppose this. There's no reason to oppose it. It literally is a win for everybody in the community except those that have a personal motive or agenda because they know a guy over here that's selling all the things on Amazon, stealing the community, popping up their outside leg to get a bonus check. Like, you will know who those people are instantly by their voice. Leaders do the right thing for the right reasons for the right people. You got to lead through that for the 99%, not let that one person with an agenda, right, pretend that there's a reason not to. Does this make sense? Am I being too direct or is this helping? Right? Most common mistakes. Try to do it yourself too soon. It's hard. Like, I mean, it is a specialty, right? So if you try to do it, if you don't get 100% of the buy box, you're not going to have 100% of the solution. You picked the wrong guy. I shared my personal experience out there. I know a guy. I would never personally, right, not have full control of my inventory as a company or brand just based on my hard lessons, right? It's just, no matter what they say, I know it's going to end up on Walmart for half the price if it comes down to them losing money, right? I mean, that's just where it ends. This is a big one. This is probably the hardest one. Choose short-term cash at the detriment of the business or brand. I'm not gonna say names, I'm not gonna name people. I've had a lot of executives come to me over the last 2 years on this topic just because I've spoken publicly on the solution. I mean, I've watched big companies, billion-dollar public companies, smart executives, like we know, like, we need the cash. We need the cash. I'm like, you understand that the minute that goes out the door, it's gonna end up popping up all over the internet for half the price, and it's gonna rob from your future sales and actually unwind the very fabric of the direct selling opportunity. We need the cash. I don't have a crystal ball. I've been doing this 25 years. I've seen the patterns. 100% of the time, those companies check back in 6 months, check back in 12 months, check back. What happened to that billion-dollar company? I know a part of what happened. I'm not saying this was all of it, but like, if they're making those decisions, what other decisions are they making, right? So just be careful of that. They try to hide it. You can't hide it. Just be transparent. Let the tail wag the dog. That's when they're letting the leaders who have the agenda talk them out of business solutions. I've seen that happen. Poor leadership and communication. You're just not communicating transparently and not doing anything. Pretending it's going to go away or that Amazon's not an issue. Those would be the biggest issues that I have seen so far in this industry. In my opinion, we're kind of shifted as a channel. So like 3 years ago, there were most people in the room that were like, Amazon, that's crazy. Today, I think most brands have made the leap or are in the process of making the leap. We're really in this next step where it transcends Amazon, right? So this play can be replicated across marketplaces, across the world. With a big disclaimer, it's not gonna work perfectly in every way like you can get it on Amazon, but Amazon is the giant gorilla, right? You take care of that, it helps most of the problem. You can repeat this template on all of these sites, right, across the world, and you're gonna get marginal results, right? So you can take this cookie cutter, replay, and I know a lot of brands now are starting to figure out, okay, let's do the same thing and generate revenue across the channel. Okay, so strategic benefits, guys, are bigger than the financial. So financial, you can add revenue, you can protect revenue, but the strategic benefits, in my opinion, of brand and protection are way more valuable than just the revenue. So what I want to do is I want to bring a couple individuals who have done this and led their communities through. So if you guys can help me welcome to the stage and give a big round of applause. We have Jared Fry from USANA coming to stage. We have Tracy Gunderson from For Life, and we have Josh Butcher from LaCour Commerce. Give them a round of applause, guys. Welcome to stage.
I am the Amazon. I am the Amazon. I am the Amazon. I am the Amazon. I am the Amazon.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'll just start with a couple questions and we'll open it up for anybody who has questions for anybody on the panel. Have some dialogue before we round out. So maybe I'll start with Tracy, then go to Jared. I'll ask you guys the same question on behalf of kind of your company brand. Like, what made you make the leap? And then what benefits have you seen in doing so?
So we had two goals. It was to take control of our brand presence on Amazon and then to validate the affiliate or the distributor experience. And so for us, I think when we decided to go back and to take that brand control, one of the big issues that we had noticed was that pricing on Amazon was all over the place, and that the brand itself was poorly represented. And so, for example, like one of our top selling products had an image of a guy wearing jeans, and the copy was really had a lot of errors in it. And so it was, marketing calls it a bad look. I call it an unprofessional look. And it was a way for us to be able to take control of that so that our brand presence could be represented in a way that we felt was more professional and just looked better. I think also that it really did. I think we all have a tendency to go check and see, like if we're interested in a product, you will go check on Amazon to see if it's cheaper on there. And so it did help validate our distributors in the sense that they could represent a price and know that that price was going to be the same that was on Amazon. So they weren't getting undercut by that Amazon experience.
I have never even looked at it that way. So yeah, the Amazon price, if you go higher, actually increases your perceived brand proposition. So it looks like your distributor price needs a discount.
So
I love that.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so I think it created some equilibrium there, and then and then I think also it allowed us to capture that revenue stream as well as a company. So I think it just allows us to look, just a more professional look, and then also to again support our distributor base and that pricing structure. So
Awesome.
For us, it's been very positive.
Now, you guys were one of like the first brands to do that, which is great. Jared, same question. Any other perspective?
Yeah, we share a lot of the same concerns that Tracy articulated. We were getting a lot of complaints from distributors that they would approach somebody, and then of course, like you mentioned, everybody kind of goes to Amazon to see what's up, like how widespread is your product, how legitimate is your product, and then they find it a lot cheaper. Of course, those sellers then, they've got terrible return policies. They don't match, again, not just marketing copy. They could be selling old product. Either it's expired or our labels have changed, our ingredients have changed, and so nothing's accurate on there. So overall, it's a terrible brand strategy to just have these third-party sellers on there doing it. So, we needed to clean it up. We tried some things that didn't work as well until we got to this solution, which was fantastic. But yeah, that was the main concern. It wasn't ever to make money, although we do make money, and that's fine, but we're not trying to compete with our distributors. Just trying to make their life a lot easier, because everybody does go and check out Amazon. And because of the free shipping and the return policies, even if it's a little more expensive, they still want to go there. But since we've taken over the channel, we're at least 20% higher price. So that does make up for shipping and some things like that when you look at it that way. So we've really helped clear the field that way.
Yeah, I know we have a lot of respect for you, Sana. You guys have done a great job for so long. I never actually thought about it till you were talking, and I guess a compliance lens. Like we're sitting here stressed out about like the mom on Facebook making a claim that has 32 friends. Go to your Amazon listings right now. Like, what are sellers putting on their description? Like, if I were the FTC, I wouldn't be searching the mom on Facebook with 32 friends. I'd be searching all your Amazon products and seeing if they're compliant, right? So if you don't have control, how are you going to keep control of your products on Amazon where everybody's searching, right? So, I would start there. You just made me think about that for sure.
Well, and there's an interesting dilemma we have with Amazon, because once you control it and you want to be compliant and maybe put that FDA disclaimer on there that has the word disease, and cure and treat, like Amazon won't let you do it. So, it can, it violates their policies. At least that's what I'm hearing. So that can be a little tricky too. But it is still better to manage the content than to let somebody just throw up whatever.
Yeah. I never thought about that. So Josh, different question, obviously, as a vendor. How long have you been doing this in this space? And I'm curious your perspective, because you work with a lot of clients. Like, what have you seen over the years as a shift?
Yeah, so I've been working in the space for 13 years. And what we've seen is when we first started, 10 years ago, that everyone was like, no way, let's not do this. It competes against our distributors. It's nothing we want to do. To where the shift in the last 12, 24 months is that they're all doing it, or now at least thinking about and in the process of doing it, because they understand what it's doing for the brand as a whole, in exactly what you guys have said, just that it's the compliance side of it, where the perception of the brand and the brand value, the look and feel of it. It is the number one looked upon site, whether you're buying there or not. People are looking at your brand there. So that's where the shift has happened.
Okay, cool. Another question for you guys. So I don't know exactly where the room's at, but let's say there's brands in the room that haven't made the jump yet, or maybe just recently did. You guys have been doing this for a while now. Any advice to those that haven't, or advice to those that have recent? Anything we should watch out, be mindful of, think about?
I think that you can get a little bit of pushback from your distributor base. And so, like you had mentioned, I think earlier, just that kind of alerts you to who was really trying to manipulate that. And so that is something to be aware of, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's important to like you said, be transparent in what you're doing with your distributors. First of all, have the full backing of your executive team, because when you get that pushback, and it's because a lot of distributors, they don't understand all of the benefits and the reasons why you're doing it and how important it is. So you want to have your executive team fully on board, because they need to field those questions and stand behind you and not undermine you and then cut the program. But also to maybe get out in front of the messaging is to let the distributors know in advance, hey, we're going to be on the channel, here's why. We're going to clean it up. We're going to sell it at a higher price. The branding's going to be better. Our seller rating's going to be great. People go there, see all of this good stuff, and then they trust, they're going to trust you implicitly, or at least more. And so, that's what I would say is starting out, is make sure you've got full company support, and make sure you're communicating to the field, have your customer service people trained to field the calls and have the talking points. And because, if they see you, like, they'll perceive it as you're competing with us and like you're damaging our business. How can you do this? So you really do need to make sure you've got those check boxes ticked before you launch.
Mm-hmm. I think that's super good advice. And you guys, don't misunderstand me. There's no like finger pointing here. Like if you're a brand in the room and you're doing version 1 or version 2, it's okay. I did that for years. For years, that was the only option. So therefore, it was the best option. So no guilt if you're stuck there, right? This might be the first time you're learning there's even other ways. So I guess, Josh, to that point, because I'm close to the space, you're the only one I'm aware of, at least, that runs this whole partnership agency model, which is a different model, right, than kind of the buy-sell. My question for you is, like, how do you do what you do? Like, how do you get the 100% of the buy box? I guess is my main question, because that's the differentiator.
Yeah, I mean, that's what everyone wants to know, and it's what we know. So, I mean, we have a proprietary tool, brand lock, that allows us to it gets 100% of the buy box. It allows us to do it for cheaper, so it is more revenue for the brand out there, and it's just that is the main tool. I mean, it's our proprietary. I mean, we have over 40 employees that work on Amazon and third-party marketplaces. That's it. So I mean, it is a robust team that's working on nothing else but Amazon and third-party marketplaces worldwide.
I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't know if this is sensitive information, but like, how many direct selling companies are you guys supporting right now?
Currently 41.
41 direct.
41 direct selling companies.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I want to open up for questions. So anything that you guys have. Actually, one more question from any of you guys, because the news. I think Amazon's the obvious. Like, get 100% own that. That's the gorilla. But any conversation from any of you on now beyond that, thinking other marketplaces, thinking international, like, if any of you are making that leap or thinking about it, or Josh, if you guys are doing anything in that space, because I do think that's the next step.
Yeah, we're definitely thinking about it, because we have a large portion of our revenue comes from Asia, for example. They have Taobao and different comparable marketplaces to Amazon, and so we're definitely interested in capturing that as well. And I don't know if Josh, I think we spoke, but how are you guys approaching some of those other markets?
Yeah, so the other marketplaces, specifically we take a look at worldwide marketplaces and whether we feel like it's an asset for our clientele to be selling on that marketplace, or to just try to be in compliance and take all the unauthorized sellers down. So worldwide, I mean, there are definitely some marketplaces out there, the Shopees, Lazadas, some of these other that are really actually good marketplaces that we do suggest that people at least look at them if they're in those markets to sell. And we are working with all these international markets to also help all the clients take them to there, and then also on the compliance side.
Cool. Thank you, guys. So let's go to some of the questions in the time that we have left. Whoever wants to jump in, feel free to jump in. So is this working primarily in North America? How effective is the system in European markets? So we kind of just were there, but whoever wants to pick that up.
So yes, definitely working primarily in North America for us. And we are actually right now in heavy consideration on the European markets. So we're definitely looking at that very carefully.
Yep, same with us. We're primarily North America.
And it works in, I think you said it earlier, it works in every market to the extent of like whether we can say it works 100% no in some of these international markets. As they evolve, I mean, we are constantly evolving with them to try to make sure that we do the best support in those markets for every one of our clients. So yeah, we would like to eventually move to that same thing that we can do with Amazon in North America here.
Awesome. So Jennifer, we offer mostly prescription, but have a few non-prescription products. Would you recommend adding your non-prescription on Amazon in hopes that it drives revenue and increased brand recognition for our telehealth products?
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. Amazon's very careful about what they do allow. So to your point there, yes, you should add all your non-prescription products on there for the same reason. People are looking, so they need to be able to look and see your brand, feel, and then potentially they can go look at your prescription products or whatever you're also selling.
Awesome. And feel free to jump in if you guys have a passionate answer on any of you.
Well, I mean, I think it just depends on what is driving you to do it and what's compelling you. Like for us, it was a different reason. It wasn't to drive revenue. I mean, it was to drive revenue, but in the direct sales channel, not the Amazon channel. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to do your own analysis. Every company's got a little different structure, business model, how they operate, and so whether it makes sense to you or not would just be something you'd want to discuss with your team.
I agree. So here's a good question. I kind of alluded to this. So what our company brought Amazon in-house 1 year later, we're stuck at 96% revenue in buy box. How long did it take you guys to get to 100%? That's a great question.
We got really fast. Like, I don't want to even say, because like you probably are like, hey, we don't want to be held to that. But you guys really like under-promised and over-delivered, because we had struggled with some other companies or offerings that I'm sure you're aware of. They're just more tedious, expensive, cumbersome. They take a long time, not particularly effective. So what you guys did, like, really cleaned us up fast, and we got the buy box, we got we pretty much got everybody off, because a lot of these sellers, they're doing it as part of their job, and they do it for a lot of companies. And if you're getting a pain point from like just one company, they're going to drop. They dropped you on and they moved on. And once we realized how many different boxes or different product listings, I guess what I should say is different like sellers, were actually just one seller under different names. So one goes away and a bunch of listings go away, different sellers. So it was really fast. So we were very happy.
Do you remember how long before left?
I was going to say our experience has been so similar that almost anything I say is going to be completely redundant. So,
Josh, do you want to give an answer?
Yeah, I mean, we always say a 90-day run, just depending on the company. Every company is a little bit different, and every unauthorized seller is a little bit different inside of those companies. So within 90 days, we're confident that we can have your brand cleaned up inside of Amazon.
I can speak as a client. So I think with Prove It, we were probably 60 days, and we had a pretty large problem. So the short answer to whoever answered that, a year is a long time. And here's the problem. Like, in most things, 96% is awesome. Like 96%. In Amazon, 99% doesn't work. Because if 1% is on there cheaper, it doesn't work, right? So it's really a thing where you have to have 100% compliance if you want a 100% solution. And you can get 100% compliance in, it should be 2 to 3 months if you got the right strategy in place. How can we convince our Amazon sales team to list all our items and not just the top sellers? Mine won't list all because of Amazon storage fees, so they don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. I'll jump in on that one. I mean, it's just a matter of like being conservative on the inventory that you send to Amazon. I think you should represent your brand completely. Everybody out there that the distributors that are driving traffic there to look at products, they want to see what the brand is all about. So yes, absolutely. You don't want to sit a bunch of inventory sitting there that's going to, get fees. But if we are conservative in the sense of how much we are sending in there, then you're not going to get those fees.
Does FBA and FBM have any part of that answer?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're FBM, that answered.
Explain what, because they may not.
So FBM is fulfilled by merchant, so that if someone buys something from Amazon and you're FBM, you're shipping it out of one of your facilities. If you're FBA, then you're shipping it, it's being shipped by Amazon. So you're only going to obtain those long-term storage fees if it's FBA.
So like from a Prove It perspective, we do FBA fulfilled by Amazon for the stuff that we know sells a lot on Amazon, and then we do FBM for all the other SKUs we want on Amazon. So we don't have to worry about the Amazon storage fees. So we get the full brand compliance, protection, all the benefits. We just use both. Any different answer, other answer? Looks like last question here. Does the Amazon platform allow us to see who these sellers are?
No. No, the answer is no. I mean, they allow you to see sellers, but they're all fake. They either use a fake name, they use a fake company, they use some sort of a smoke and mirrors game. So yes, they allow you to see some things, but you're not actually most of the time that's not gonna lead you to anywhere.
Yeah, that's always a struggle. And some companies, if you can track your product, then you can buy it from the seller and kind of see what path it took to get there. Otherwise, you have to file a lawsuit and literally do discovery to figure out who the seller is, and that's,
And sometimes.
And they just can move on to a different, name and pseudonym and get back.
And they're sophisticated. I'm laughing at Jennifer Grace back here. Like, we had an issue with Prove It. We spent almost a year trying to figure out who the seller was. They had shell corporations in different states than they lived in, and they were internet. I mean, it was the most complicated shell game, is what they do. I mean, it is crazy. I think we had everything on there. Is there any other questions in the room for last question before we wrap? Yeah, Al.
Yeah, so we manage all customer reviews. Now, Amazon wants a platform that has truth behind it. So if the review is something in regards to your product that it tasted bad, all that stuff, they're going to leave it up there. There's nothing.
Claims.
Claims. Yeah, so if there is a review that is claiming something that has no validity towards the actual product, then yes, we work on getting all of those reviews off. So give me an example of what you're asking.
I'm going to give you two answers. I know what you're asking. Like, I think Josh is saying you have the ability, if it's an actual issue, to potentially get it removed on Amazon.
Correct.
As a brand, right? Maybe we don't have that control or that ability, and there are great testimonies that are on Amazon. I mean, I think it's a legal risk decision. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Amazon that. Yeah.
Yeah.
How come all of them say Al's name on all the reviews on the man? I mean, AI Al. You guys have been amazing. Thank you guys for all your time. Thank you, Jonathan, Mike, Eric, Momentum Factor. Thank you guys for staying to the end. Hope this was beneficial and helpful.